So you are a psychologist and you mainly work with small children or infants. Could you just tell a few words about the major interests of your research and clinical work?
Well, my early work was on the development of thinking and problem solving in young babies and toddlers. And I developed a whole range of new tests and new tasks to study this, and I was really surprised in the research at how competent babies are very early on. But what also surprised me were the differences between babies. Some develop very fast, some are much slower, and I was curious about these differences, and so my research began to change direction, and I got involved in looking at the effects of nutrition on this kind of development.
So you expected that nutrition may play the major role?
Originally, I didn't, and many years ago, psychologists, child psychologists really didn't look at nutrition as the explanation for the differences we see amongst children. But now this view has changed completely. We have neuroscientists recognizing that nutrition plays a key role in early brain development, and it plays a key role in the development of behavior and mental abilities.
What are the major conclusions from your research?
Well, our research has been looking at the effects of long-chain polyunsaturated fats on infant development and also follow-up studies into later childhood. And we were particularly interested in the role of DHA, which is a key fat in the brain. And our conclusions are that DHA affects early infant development, and in particular, from our studies, we think it affects the development of frontal cortex and all of those functions that are controlled by frontal cortex. So, for example, the ability to plan ahead and the use of working memory. And also, we've seen differences in not only in infants, but in children later in childhood. We followed up children at 6 years of age. We found that they were more efficient and faster at solving problems. So we think long-chain polyunsaturated fats, especially DHA in infancy, have benefits to infants, but also long-term benefits in later childhood.
You also tend to say that in everyday practice, the doctors should follow the development of small children or infants, and the same for the mothers. Why is it so important?
It's important to keep a check on children's development, to notice if they're achieving the milestones roughly on time, certainly for the first 2 or 3 years of life. And the reason is that for some children, development is not going to go smoothly. They may be behind in one area, and it may be an important area. For example, if you have a baby who's not making eye-to-eye contact, is not talking to you, isn't smiling between 3 and 6 months, this is a very strong indicator that there might be a risk of autism developing later. So it's very necessary to keep a check on these milestones so you can spot whether there are developmental problems, and you can maybe plan an appropriate intervention at an early time. The earlier, the better.
Thank you very much. I think it's a very important message for our doctors and also to our parents. Thank you.
Thank you.